Alright, folks, I reckon Sunday morning coffee. I actually went to record one yesterday and just never got it finished. Fumbled around too long. I hope everybody, all my U.S. friends, hope you enjoyed the Thanksgiving holiday. We are now in December. What happened to this year? I blinked and it's gone. It's funny though, I'm going through memories on ye old Facebook and I brought up one 8 years ago, and I made a video about it 8 years ago, Sunday morning coffee kind of format. Pros and cons, running your own show versus working for someone. And I don't remember how I responded exactly. I should have gone back through and looked, but I didn't. I don't remember how I responded on that one, but I'll tell you, I'm early 40s and basically starting over. This year's been trying. It's been swirling around the bowl for years and finally went down the hole last year, almost exactly a year ago. And as crushing as that was, it was kind of relieving. I was able to step back and I stopped reacting. I stopped just moving on instinct. And that's where I was stuck for over a decade of my life. I just moved on instinct. It wasn't forward motion. It wasn't even lateral. It was just slow backward slide. I didn't see it for what it was, but there you go. And I won't say I hit the bottom and bounced back. I won't say I embraced the grind, or it was rough. It was rough. Depression is interesting. It makes everything very... Everything's either hyper detailed or it's just a fucking blur that smears out in front of you. And there's no in between. And it feels like it rolls out in slow motion, and you look around and 16 months has passed. And so, that said, my stance on it is real simple. If I had to do it all over again, and since I do have it to do all over again, even in my 40s, I'm blessed at this this redo. I really am. I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy with how it came about. I'm not happy with where I'm at right now in existence, but I'm satisfied well enough. So my response is any youngsters, any younger folks, unless you've really got it, unless you've got education, you're good with business, accounting. See, business is business. It doesn't matter what widget or service you're selling. The tenets of business are all the same. If you're fluid and functional there, you're in pretty good shape, and you've got a good idea what you got to do, and the hurdles to overcome. But it takes a lot of fucking money to set up a straight, real, legit shop, and I never got quite where I was above board on everything like I wanted and like I pushed to achieve. And a lot of that failing comes from organization, managerial, and business skills. If I were to do it again, since I can say this with authority, I'd get a straight job, and then I would play with the old shit on the side. Whether you got to rent space, or you've got space where you live, or however it works out. Right now I got to rent space. And my big goals right now with renting space are really threefold. Preserve my investment in materials, equipment, and so forth. Everything was stuffed into storage poorly. And it cost me money every month having it in storage, and it wasn't making me any money. And I have materials that would be garbage right now if I hadn't got them in a controlled environment. I could pay several years rent versus replacing everything that would go to hell in the next 8 months in storage. So I've salvaged that, salvaged my equipment and inventory and investment in what I have. The second point was to wipe all of my responsibilities, get them finished up, at least to a point where they're on par, where they're, I don't owe, they don't owe, we're level. But moreover, to finish projects that were on deck that have been on hiatus for far too long. So I've been working on getting those where they need to be. And the third is in conjunction of finishing up that work and taking on miscellaneous other work, small work, stuff of my choosing primarily. Save up so next year about this time, I'm capable of not only having the authority of I've got the down payment saved up, but I've worked on my credit. I've got the income tax return information I need showing I'm gainfully employed. Self-employed, even if your tax information's all in order, they scrutinize a lot more than someone that's gainfully employed. And I never crossed over to business owner. I was always self-employed. I did the work as much of it as I could, and I can never break away from that. And I think if you're going to open a facility, a shop, one little insight, you have to decide what path you're going down. Are you going to be self-employed, or are you going to be a business owner? And you have to make that cognitive decision up front before you start, before you begin. You can't switch sides in the middle. It doesn't work it doesn't work to your benefit that way. You end up working backwards if you try to switch avenues. So I have it to do all over again. I work a straight gig at a shop, and I spent most of my adult life self-employed in some fashion or form. Carpentry, construction, mechanic work, body paint, custom, all of that. I've switched careers a few times through my young adulthood. I'm not saying I'm old now, I'm only in my 40s, but in my young adulthood, I switched a few career paths to something that was more fitting. But all that in a nutshell, I never worked for anybody that I like working for this person. I like making them money. I like where I'm at now. I like working for these folks. I like working for this man. I like the fact knowing I feel, all right, I got nothing to lose, nothing to gain going in there busting my ass or going in there and falling on my face. I can throw my hands up and walk away anytime. There's nothing ventured, nothing gained on that. I don't own anything, but I feel a certain kinship or partnership and responsibility therein. He brings me the sheets, he brings me the hours, he brings me the work. I hand him a finished product that's billable, that makes me money, makes his shop money. And I'm happy with that. I'm proud of that fact. And I've never been in that position in my life. So it's kind of the nutshell I was trying to puke out yesterday and just couldn't formulate. And all of that fun down south at my undisclosed underground location. Shop's been relative at a standstill, and I've had some real bleak reminders of why it is I don't want to run a shop, not at this juncture in my life. I got some small work, half-assed work, good enough work that I do for an older gentleman, and it helps pay the bills. The guy helping me helps pay him, keep him happy, keep him motivated to keep working. But I brought in a job that should be able to pay several months of rent. It helped me get moved in, which I'm thankful for. But now I'm dealing with a slow pay. I've been waiting for money for a month. And I've learned finally, 8 years later, I get a project in, deposit in, shop gets its cut, materials are all paid for. The rest after that's labor. I won't say profit, just labor. That said, you take that back and you go, okay, we've worked this many hours to date, we bought this much materials to date. Okay, well, you've given me legitimately spent on your project. Our books balance out. I don't owe that project any money. However, on the inverse of that, I'm not working on it any longer either, because I'm not going to have that project owe me money. And as I get my older projects down there, it's the same idea. Is I owe them money. I owe that project money because of XYZ. So I'll put the hours in. I'll bank the hours into that and make it where I don't owe it money any longer, and I can move forward from there with a little bit of authority and make everybody satisfied. Nobody's gonna be happy at this point. My shit's taking too long to get back to customers, but I'm blessed. They've been very good people. It's time to get things moving. However, at that, don't owe your project money, and don't let the project owe you money. And it took me until everything fell apart and I was able to stop and sit back and really look at what I had or hadn't done to identify that. And that's really it in a nutshell. I hope everybody had a good holiday. We did. We went down to my sister's, up to my sister's. Had family gathering yesterday, so it was a fun time. I got to see nieces and nephews. I got to see, my brother and my sister. All the kids got to play. It was a great time. Shitty weather, but great time. That's about it. I'm right at the cusp of where I'm prepared to start hitting record and rolling film in my little space. Like I said, I got framed up most of what I'm going to close up to paint in. It's not a paint booth, it's barely an enclosure, but it is exactly what I need for now. And I'm not going to put a lot of time and money into this space because I plan on being there only a year and a half maybe. So I'll do what I can with what I've got, and then we'll move. And it's going to suck because moving is horrible, but I'm hoping to move with more equipment, less projects. That will be a lot easier. Equipment is easier to move than projects, it seems. I need to get myself a flatbed trailer. I'm really frustrated right now. This is the last note. I'm out of here. 6 weeks down there, and 6 weeks down there, and out of those 6 weeks, 4 of those weekends I had lined up to get cars hauled and moved. I got one move down there, and that was some considerable mishap in the midst. Every time I got lined up a circumstance, it fell through. So now I've got equipment and projects to move. So I'm going to be sorting that out over the next week. At some juncture I'll start rolling some film, and I'll throw it up so it can be edited and spun through. I believe my lovely assistant and partner in life is going to help me with that, because I know I won't have time to edit footage properly. Not with the way I'm grinding. I'm either taking time off intentionally and doing nothing with it, or I'm grinding my ass off. There's no in between. So, a Merry Holiday to all my U.S. friends. Hopefully everybody else is enjoying existence. Go do something that sings to your soul. Doesn't matter if you hate your day job. Go find something that sings to your soul. I'll talk to y'all later.